Hello and welcome to the Business and Banking Dialogue Show, our bi-weekly show, which comes to you every Wednesday and Friday. Today we are, like always, we are live on every other show. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. This is your one-stop shop, which gives you incisive analysis on a topic of interest in the world of finance, payments, and technology. I'm KK, your host and moderator. Today's topic of discussion is it's very, very new, relatively new, I would say, and not much in debates and discussions. And so we thought we will bring this up, thanks to our guest, Mr. Murthy. It's on platform business. Okay, what is it? We will soon know, and how the platform business can accelerate economic and business growth is the topic of today's BBD. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do some of the best known tech giants have in common? They are, of course, all hugely successful, no doubt about it, business and technologically well ahead of everybody else, boasting massive market valuations and continuous growth. They are also what we call as platform-based organizations. Their success lies in their agility, innovation, and quick adaptability to dynamic business requirements and new opportunities that their business comes up with. Platforms harness and create large, scalable networks of users and resources that can be accessed on demand. So, you will know more about it. So to know more about the business platform and how it accelerates economic and technological shift, please join me, ladies and gentlemen, in welcoming Mr. Sambamurthy. He has been our guest in our earlier shows, and his talks have been appreciated by our audience. Welcome to the show, Mr. Murthy.
Thank you, KK. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you, sir.
It's always to be back here.
Thank you. Happy New Year. And always
I should congratulate. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I should congratulate you for your resilience. I think it's 130 shows. I think I admire your tenacity.
Thank you. So briefly, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Murthy has, like I said, has come earlier. He's a chartered accountant and he's been served in the financial services industry for 40 years. A few responsibilities. He was formerly the director and CEO of IDRBT. Okay, it's a very big RBI institution. He was also formerly chairman of NPCI, served on the boards of public and private sector banks, served on the boards of financial market infrastructure organization as independent director in banking, insurance, and capital market. He's a mentor at the SYFX Treasury Foundation. We had talked about it a bit in our earlier discussions. He has served on RBI and government committees. So that's the profile right in front of you. You can see his profile. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Murthy. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good
evening. Good evening. This is a new topic and not much talked about either in any of the symposiums or seminars or on television. So please enlighten us. What is platform model and how is it different from other business models?
Fine. Thank you, KK. As you said, this is a little kind of not a mainstream subject, but this is emerging as a major economic model. It's not about technology. Platform is basically essentially a business model. So before I get into what this platform model is, let us get into why this platform business model at all. I think first and foremost, we need to make a fundamental distinction between IT industry and internet industry. I think that is a subtle distinction that lies between the platform model and the other models and all that. And why platform models are important? Let me give you a little bit of global landscape. So right now, it's a huge tech and economic shift. It's not about technology alone. And then if you see internet economy, as I said, as opposed to IT economy, internet economy is radically, significantly different from the IT industry. Now it has emerged, we just started only about a decade ago. Now it's slowly getting into the mainstream, disrupting several industries. Industry, say 3.0 to 4.0. And then this is also very important in the Indian context when we talk of Atmanirbhar $5 trillion economy. It is essential for us to adopt a platform economy, at least in some of the industries. And unless we do that, I'm not. It takes too much time for us to achieve this $5 trillion economy. If you see some of the studies, out of top 10 global companies, 7 are platform companies, and 5 are in US and 2 are in China. Of course, we are an IT superpower. As I said, we are dominant in IT sector. We are still have to make a mark so far as the platform companies are concerned. Of course, we have a few of them. I'll show you on the table how they go that. And thirdly, market cap of just 2 platform companies globally in the US is in excess of $4 trillion. And this is more than the GDP of almost all the countries individually except US and China. The market cap of just about 2 companies. It's not about market valuation, but the kind of impact they are making globally. That's what important, how they're changing society, how they're changing business is important more than the market cap. But of course, market cap is a kind of validation of value they create.
Yeah.
And then according to some study, there is a huge growth potential in the next 2 decades. As per one of the studies, 50% of the S&P 500 valuation would be contributed by platform companies, which is just now about 14-15%. It would go up to 50%. So each as a business model, I think India needs to look at very seriously. So as I said, it is disrupting a lot of industries, but at the same time, it's also creating new industries. That's where I think, and it's also changing the industries. As we go along, I think we will discuss as we do it. And this model turns scarcity into abundance. That is the beauty of this model, especially in healthcare. And we would see in the taxis, square, e-commerce, how it has changed. I think we will discuss as we go along. In our own country, I think we have the classic example of UPI, right? Which is one of the best platform companies, the largest platform companies, I would say, which is done. Of course, we also have Swiggy, Amazon, Flipkart, Paytm, also come in the category. But as compared to the global giants, and we have a long way to go because they are in trillions of dollars, and we are in the unicorn, and then of course some of them are decahorns, $10 billion. And another advantage of these platform companies, there will be explosion of productivity. And there is no way that we can grow faster without explosion of productivity. That's why we have to look at the platform model. And then if you go back and so far, and there are 4 categories of economic activity. Number 1 is asset builder. And number 2 is service providers. Number 3 is tech creators. And number 4 is network orchestration. That is another name for platform companies. And again, in the top comes the platform companies. Today, as somebody said, the economy is shifting from asset building to app building. To reach out to a large number of people. So it will transform every kind of skill or semi-skilled person, a citizen, into an entrepreneur or a self-employed person. Take, for instance, a carpenter, a skilled carpenter. If he gets registered in that urban clap, of course, the name is got changed. Today, services are accessible to the whole world. And then he can be self-employed. He can be an entrepreneur who can build on this kind of this thing. So what I'm telling is we should not be taken carried away by only this market cap, but this platform model gives huge opportunity for citizens to grow their business. Can you show that slide 1?
Yeah, Tapash.
Can you show the slide 1? Just to give a flavor of where we stand in terms of these platform company models.
Make it a slideshow.
Slide, please.
Yeah, it comes up. Subhash, the previous slide.
No. Yes, previously. Yeah. Yes. So just look at this market cap of these platform companies. Apple is $2 trillion. Amazon is 1.5. By now, this would have changed. Alphabet, that is Google, it's $1.1 trillion. Microsoft, over $1 trillion. Facebook, 780 billion. These are all 5 top companies in the US. And then if you see Tencent is about 720. Of course, Alibaba is different story. Last few weeks, I think it's facing a different kind of pushback from their government and all. But I think the model is still intact. We need to see that how the things would share. So these internet companies, internet economy companies or platform companies, compare with our own IT industry. But of course, these Apple and Orange, as I said, it's not fair to compare these IT companies and all. So the purpose of telling is how do we transit from IT companies to platform companies? So we have our own 3-4 platform companies. Paytm, of course, is the top of the list, 16 billion. Oyo is 10 billion. Flipkart is about 16 billion. Of course, we don't know the valuation. Baizu in the edutech, I think it's about $12 billion. So these tables gives us an idea of the potential of platform economy, I would call it. So when we talk of Atmanirbhar, when we talk of, I think, a $5 trillion economy, both the industry as well as the government need to seriously come out with some kind of a policy framework. How do we probably transit? It's not about, a startup. Of course, startups also have an important role to play. We have about 30 unicorns, I think, as of today. But most of them, I think, given the right kind of, adopting the right kind of business model, they can become platform companies somewhere comparable to these things, because hardly it takes about 10 years for these platform companies to reach this kind of valuation. Yes. So this basically trying to tell you the potential of platform companies that we need to probably tap into it. And also from a geopolitical risk point of view also, we can't be probably overly dependent on some of these platform companies like Facebook and WhatsApp or even Google. We know some of these tremors are already felt all over the globe. Yes. So all that I'm trying to tell you before we say what and I think why we need to do that. It's not a fancy proposition, but it is a very serious proposition that we need to look at it. So what is platform? So before we get into this platform business, what is the erstwhile? This is called pipe model, or some people call it linear model. This is where we are, industry 3.0. So basically you have stage 1 that you have a company and an organization. It procures raw material, organizes all resources, manpower resources, organizational resources, operating resources, and then converts into a product, finished product, and then sells it in the third stage. So here, the issue, the limitations here is basically the value is created only at stage 1. That is at the production stage. The other two, they do not create much value, number 1. Number 2, second biggest limitation of this model is it is capital heavy. So whatever scaling has to happen, it will happen at stage 1 only. So many of the industries are facing a serious problem in terms of scaling up in this kind of model. Third thing is, it is very difficult to adopt any new technologies. We are seeing in some of the heavy industries that we have today, which are in the linear model, pipe model, they find it extremely difficult to adopt new technology. Whereas you have these new companies like today, if you see, Apple wants to have a car, a mobile device manufacturer. Google, which is a search engine, wants to unveil a car, electric vehicle and all. So they're all platform companies. They find it easy to get into, adopt new technologies, get into new one. So in this model, not that it is all too bad, and it can make incremental improvement. So a lot of improvements are made, a lot of supply chain, the practices are brought in, and this also is a kind of click and brick model, right? So for instance, Hello?
Yeah, so you had
connectivity is a problem, Arun, sir. Oh, I don't know. I think some Wi-Fi problem, I think. Right.
Okay. Yeah, so, go ahead, sir.
Here, what they call this, if you see this production, this model, basically the enterprise owns the means of production. When you say it owns the means of production, it has to make all investments in all the means of production. So it becomes very capital heavy. As I said, it can, of course, it can put more capital, it can organize more resources, it can scale up, but only from the supply side, not from the demand side. So you need both and supply and demand side if you want to have a platform company model. I'll give a small example, like it's say, for instance, the hotel industry. Takes, for instance, Airbnb. It doesn't own a single hotel, but it has the largest number of hotel rooms anywhere in the world, even the largest chains like Marriott and all that. Take Uber. It doesn't own in a single car, but it has the largest fleet that anyone can boast of. So it's not, so they don't own a single car, they don't own a single hotel or hotel room, but they are able to create a platform where probably they're developing the business. How they do the develop the business as we go along, we will discuss. So from the linear model, we come to the platform model. So, but it looks, next slide, please. So very subtle change here. There is a producer here, there is a consumer here, but earlier it was one straight line, but now we have got a platform that comes in between. It's not comes in between, in fact, it comes.
Just a minute, sir. Let's put the slide up. Tapash, can you put the slide, please?
I'm able to see. Slide is there.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yes, yes.
But we are unable to see. I can't see the slide. So if others can see, it's great.
But I'm able to see. Right, okay.
Okay, great. Yeah, all right.
I'm sure that I think participants will be able to see that.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So here, basically, you have a platform which connects the producer on one side and the consumer on the other side. It is not one linear model or a pipeline model, as we said and all that. And then this model is further developed. Next slide, please. I will show you that how we do that. So you have a producer and consumer in between a platform. Basically, now we find that a distinction, a separation between the producers and consumers. In between comes a platform. So the idea of this platform is it can onboard any number of producers. It's not just one brand. Supposing there are 10 brands of car manufacturers, all the 10 brands can be on one side, and there can be consumers who would consume all these 10 brands, right? Whereas in supposing you have one single brand, like say Tata Motors in the pipeline model, so you have one producer and then one set of consumers who would do, or you have one, our Swift car and all that, you have one model and then you have only one set of consumers and all that, right? But here you have 10 producers on one side and millions of consumers on the other side, and in between the platform, right? Next one. Next one. So this is basically further expansion of the platform. Platform is at the center. If we look at this, what does the platform do? So I will start with audience building. Audience building in the sense, it is both producers as well as consumers. So this platform needs to onboard, say for instance, it is in the hotel business or providing accommodation to all the people. So it can onboard all the hoteliers on one side, and then it can connect all the consumers on the other side. It builds the audience at a, I would say, citizen scale, not a citizen scale, even at a global scale. Today, sitting here, that we through Airbnb, we can book a hotel or any private kind of accommodation from anywhere, because all these, the people who offer their accommodation, they get registered on this kind of platform. So the job of the platform is to build this audience, not build the hotels, build the audience, and also onboard the consumers. So this is the first most important step that the platform has to do. And then second one is basically then comes to the matchmaking. So if you have got, say, 100 hotels, you have got 100 million consumers who want to use it. So how do you match these two people, right? So everyone who wants to book a hotel, he has his own priorities, he has his own budgets, he has his own preferences to do that and all. And the other hand, you have got hotels which offer a wide variety of these things and all. So the business of the platform is match the audience and the consumers, protect the consumers. And it looks easy, but it's very difficult. For instance, you see the Facebook, it has got 2 billion consumers, right? 2 billion consumers. So it is getting into a lot of advertisement business. How does it connect the audience? Of course, advertising is not supposed to be its the original business plan and all that, but that's how they're developed and all that. So for instance, Airbnb, it has got, say, 300 hotels, maybe 2 million rooms on one side with various tariffs, with various kind of categories, and we have 100 million consumers on the other side. So platform business, even though they don't own any of these things, the biggest job is to do the matchmaking. So this is done because of big data analytics. They use the artificial intelligence. So data plays a key role. So instead of owning properties, this platform probably amasses a lot of data. Of course, you will have a lot of issues as we go along, we do that. So platform job is to, they say, key core transaction. A core transaction, a value exchange should take place between a consumer and the hotel, or between somebody wants to hire a car and the Uber or Ola or any kind of the car kind of a state. Looks easy. So it has to build a massive, very sophisticated, very agile data analytics AI platform. That is the main job. And it needs to see that core transaction takes place seamlessly at a low cost, at a low cost. And to run the whole platform, basically it needs to provide a lot of tools. You need to standardize, because all the people who are producers or providers of service cannot each one build his own tools and all that. So the job of the platform is also develop some tools and then provide these tools to both the sides, so that they will be able to exchange the transaction without their involvement. Without the involvement of the platform, they should be able to seamlessly do that. And the third job, of course, the final job is also formulate rules and standards. So basically, the rules should encourage number one, a good behavior. It should not harm the consumers and all that. It should also try to find out any dispute resolution mechanism that may happen between the consumers or between the producers and the consumers and all that. So this is basically the job of the platform, is to orchestrate the entire ecosystem, we call. So all this forms an ecosystem. So this is not theory. NPCI has done this job brilliantly well. That is why you see the 2 billion plus kind of monthly transactions within a period of 2 years. It does not own any of this, does not own any of the components of the platform model. So what is the advantage of this? Capital light. It does not own any properties. It does not own any assets at all, except providing this. So it's capital light. It can scale very fast and then scale higher. And then the whole cost can be cheaper because the economies of scale that it can bring in. So like, you can imagine a 2 billion transactions a month, 2.5 billion, the marginal cost comes to almost as good as zero. I mean, if you spread the entire kind of a thing. I remember in the debit card, ATM card switching fees used to be as high as 4 or 5 rupees, right? Today, people talk of paisa. They don't want even pay 2-digit paisa. They wanted 1-digit paisa, all in a matter of 4 or 5 years. Again, of course, NPCI, of course, not that I was there in the earlier and all that, that NPCI, because of this platform model, they could drive down the costs and all that. That's why customer of any bank can go to use any of the 2 lakh ATMs, right? So that is instead of each bank saying that, no, I own the ATM, I will only serve the customers and all, a platform has come in between. So in India also, we have this example, of course, it's a public good and all that, and it focuses only on payments, unlike other platform companies and all that. So if you take Amazon, a very interesting story. All of us know he started only selling books, right? Those days we said, no, unless we touch and feel, we don't want to buy, right? Any of these products and all that. That was 7-8 years ago. So when somebody asked him, Jeff was, and they said that you started off selling books. So why are you getting into all these kind of products? Now his inventory, not his inventory, his product range is maybe 2 or 3 million products, right, today, which is, and then a billion consumers on the other side. So you have a billion consumers on the other side, and then you have a few million products on the other side. How does the matchmaking take place, right? Without owning any of these things. That is the beauty of platform. You can do that. So when somebody asked me, we started only selling books. Why did you get into all this, a million products? He said, we have learned if we can sell books this way, we can sell anything this way. Now he is coming into even to EduTech, right? I mean, couple of days back, we said, he is coming to Amazon Academy to train IT aspirants and all that, IT, IIM, CAT and JEE and all that. So from selling books to selling anything, right from plain to today, he wants to get into tuitions, right? This is nothing but a tuition. So today, when we say Atmanirbhar and all that, so we need to get into this platform business. Okay, some monopolies we create and all that, we need to probably, that's a regulatory challenge and all that. We cannot sit tight and say that, okay, we have done extremely well in IT, we have an IT superpower, that's all fine. But unless we take urgent steps to get into transit to platform and be content only with the pipe model, linear model, because we are doing well. But I think we will get overwhelmed kind of, this situation and all that. And then conventionally, we used to say, is it B2B business? Is it B2C business? Is it C2C or C2G? Today, if you look at this Amazon, or you look at the Facebook, or look at the Google, what is their business? Is it B2C, B2B? What is their business? So I think we should come out of these conventional models, both as well as, budding entrepreneurs, as well as, I think, probably the government, of course. If you say Silicon Valley success is because the government never stepped there. Government is far away. All these ideas have come from where? Not from any policy makers and all that. It's all come from educational institutions, right? From leading all these educational institutions, because talk of Stanford and all that. So if you want to build this platform, want to build the ideas, industry, academia partnership should also further accentuate, which is not, of course, I think, which is, I'm not sure to what extent we are able to, some of our educational institutions, IITs, IIM say, oh, these are the 5 ideas. Today, where Google, where was it born? Facebook, where was it born? They're all born in educational institutions, right? Yes. With the faculty, with the professors and all. So this is briefly this platform, right? I'll stop here if you want to any clarifications. I don't know whether I clarified what is a platform business.
Yeah. So the question, I think perhaps for the audience would think is, you have given the examples also, which are, the Apples and the Amazons of the world. So is it always technology in the background? Because if you look at Amazon, if you look at Apple, they are all Microsoft, they are all technology giants. Okay, India, if you look at TCS, Infosys, again, technology giants, right? So are we predominantly in the technology space that it comes up? That's number one. Number two, the question is, you said about Atmanirbhar Bharat and all that, but my question is, why do we need such platforms?
Correct. If you don't do it, somebody else will dominate. Today, you have seen Amazon, based out of it wants to train aspirants for IIT, right?
Yes.
Can you regulate him? Can you tell him not to do it? I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
You cannot do. See, I don't think it's not technology. Technology comes at the end. Of course, technology is important. I'm not undermining kind of this thing. First of all, we need to define problems. For instance, in education, what is the problem we have? The problem is that probably we have shortage of top quality teachers, right? Yeah. But we have a number of aspirants that is very evident. How many people take NEET exam and how many people get through? You take even IITs or IIMs, any of these kind of stuff and all that. So we find then a shortage of quality teachers. But today in a brick and mortar, you can only reach out to a few people, like 200 people, 250 people. Of course, MOOCs has not been that great success. Again, it has limitations and all that. Today you bring all teachers. The Baisu, what is he doing? He's bringing all teachers on one side, right? He's bringing all the students on the other side. And then he's bringing on board content providers who will develop the content, right? The curriculum and all that. And then he's developing tools to enable the students as well as the teachers to deliver quality experience, right?
Yes.
So, and today, for instance, it's not been a commercial one, even a societal one. In the field of the education, there is an eighth step, I don't know whether you've heard, which is now founded by Mr. Nandan Nilekani and his family and his friends and all that. He's trying to create a platform where I think he wants to train about 200 million students, 200 million. That's the kind of scale we need. So one of the need for platform is also a scale, and no other business model will give you. So it is about, a platform is more about addressing certain problems, well-defined problems, developing and operating a business model, and then find out what technologies that can be used. So having said that, when I said that there is what is called a chicken and egg situation. So earlier slide we have seen, on one side, we need to onboard producers, and the other side we need to onboard consumers onto this platform, right? So
yes.
But dilemma for real platform entrepreneurs is, should we onboard producers first or should we onboard consumers first? Supposing we onboard consumers first, if you don't have a producer, they just go away, right? They don't come. So we want to onboard producers first, and they come and say that, no, we don't have any consumer to use our products. Why do you want to waste our time? And this is a classic case. This is a classic case I've seen in bill payments, right? So when our people are asking, billers to come, who will pay? Tell us and all that. And then when we ask these fellows to come on board and all, to pay one electricity bill, already I'm paying and somebody is coming and collecting why I want it. So he says at one side, can I pay all my bills, electricity bill, water bill, property tax, my school fees, everything on that, right? What I pay, even my mobile bill, telephone bill, whatever I want to pay. So then you need about all categories of billers on this, right? So many platforms have failed because they did not balance onboarding the producers and the consumers. So it's not an easy job, as I said. That's where big data analytics and all that comes. And we have seen it, and I've seen it for myself. I have first-hand information. Supposing you bring all hotels, come on, join on my platform. I'm doing like Airbnb, OYO and all that, whatever you're doing. But if the consumers don't come, what do? Or if all consumers come, they don't find quality hotels in that. So it's not easy. But again, at the same time, one mistake many of the failed platforms that do, I can give you a classic example. I'm giving you global examples because that's where we can learn lessons. No, before Facebook, there was what is called Club Nexus, 2001. That was in fact the first social media platform before Facebook. That was also started at Stanford. But they became, they wanted their product to be overrich. So it can do 10 things. So it can chat, it can send mails, it can post events, it can do personal ads, it can buy and sell used goods, it can post images, it can post articles, it can do post our personal data. So then it got too overwhelmed, right? They could not manage it and the whole thing collapsed. And then Facebook, what he did, he started only with chat and slowly started building the whole thing, right? So also Google. Before Google also several failed. Yahoo, we have seen how they failed. So it's not that everybody who starts a platform will succeed. Another classic example is System, is another Facebook, social media before Facebook. Again, came with a huge ambition, and then it has set up massive infrastructure and all that. And then ultimately they could not get enough consumers who can use the platform. And then it was offered to Facebook for sale, Mark Zuckerberg. Now, what is his? He said, there is too much of stuff. I can't handle it. So that also failed. So when I said matching and then the bringing on board the producers and the consumers is an art. That is where real business model lies.
Yes.
Right? And we have succeeded here. UPI is a classic example, stupendous success. Paytm also to some extent is a success, right? He says that he has about 200 million kind of people, right? And we have several of them. OYO we have. And then Baisu. Of course, how long they sustain, survive is an issue, but it all depends on network effect. The large number of people you bring on people, and then network effect. And another key factor for success is the network effect. Can you show the next slide? I'll show you what is network effect. Next one. Below this, below that, next one. Yes, this one. So see the network. Supposing if there are only two people on the network, initially we had two telephones. What is the value of network? Only just one person can contact the other person. Many may not be interested, right? So supposing if you have say 10 people and then you can have a network. So it's almost the connections will be, if there are 5 people, there can be 10 connections. Supposing you have millions of people, each one can talk to each other. That is what, UPI, they've got 150 million people. So they're able to drive in more volume and all that. So the success of the platform lies in this third model of network. I'll show you what is the size of network of some of these platform companies. Next slide. You look at this, Facebook has 2.45 billion people on the network, 2.45 billion. So it's no surprise, such a runaway success. Google, 4 billion people. Because anyone who is on internet can go for a Google search, right? And then internet, of course, itself is about 4 trillion. YouTube, Apple, Alibaba, and WeChat. So if you want a platform to succeed, somewhere close in India that comes is one is Aadhaar. We have a billion kind of user base. I mean, I think that's one of the unique, platform anywhere in the world, which probably you can use it for other things, right? Any platform which wants to do it, any authentication and all that, I think this is an ideal platform that we can do. Not that we can't do it. What I'm telling is we can do it. UPI, NPCI is an example, Aadhaar is an example. Maybe at a lower scale, Flipkart is an example. Of course, they have sold Voyo, Baizu, Paytm. So these are all homegrown companies and all that. So we need to probably, I think, look for a not incremental step. If we don't do it, ultimately these 5 top companies will rule the world. And there is no way that they can probably regulate it, because that is only a beginning for they say it's a supplementary teaching, but in course of time, it will become a main teaching. People may not find need to go to the school. if you have to study, they can take the exams and all that. So I think we need to build on the success of Aadhaar. We need to build on the success of UPI and build these networks and all. Right? So the value of network also, supposing UPI, we are actually celebrating, we have got 2 billion people. We have got 150 million people, right? So out of 1.3 billion people, supposing you had 100 million people on the network, the volume will go up by 10 times. Of course, theoretically, it will go by 100 times. But volume will go up by 10 times. If you just add, instead of 20 billion, you will have 20 billion per month if you add this. So the platform job, because it doesn't own any means of production, how do you build the audience? Can you build more audience? Because Aadhaar has reached a peak, right? It has reached the maximum, almost captured the entire population of this country.
Yeah, true. Sir, the question that comes up is that you said we have to build such kind of platform business. But, how do we design a platform model? And I'm asking this question specifically because if you look at Amazon or if you look at Microsoft, these were not built to say that I'm going to build a platform model. They were like, Amazon was made just for selling books. Then he found something else to do. Then he found something else to do, and it became bigger and bigger. Correct?
Yes.
So nobody builds a system saying that I'm going to build a platform system. If I'm right, correct me if I'm right. So my question to you is, sir, how do we design a platform model, and what are the challenges?
Fine, very good question. See, basically, many of these, probably even some of these MNCs have failed, unable to build platform. Let us not underestimate. It's not easy of saying audience building and matchmaking through big data analytics and all that. I'll give you an example. The mobile device manufacturers, Nokia, right? Very feature rich. Where is it? Nokia. In fact, it was sold for about 7 billion to Microsoft. Microsoft, after a few years, have sold it to for what? Some few hundred billion, right? And then take your Motorola, you take HTC, you take Samsung. But you see the Apple. Apple is a stupendous success, right? All of them have started as a device manufacturers, as a linear business model, pipe model, right? So they procure all material, either do in-house or they outsource, whatever it is, ultimately they own the whole part of it. They think they are only in the mobile device manufacturing business. What they were doing is they are trying to make it feature rich. I would like to add more features to my phone. I would like to have more design to my phone, right? Make it like more exciting, right? More glamorous kind of stuff. Why Apple succeeded? All others have gone. It's not about only a question of design of the Apple itself. It has evolved into a platform business. How it has evolved? Today it has opened up, supposing developers, large number of developers are there, right? Around Apple ecosystem, right? Apple ecosystem. Motorola did not follow that, adopted. Even BlackBerry, you remember one of the fancy things, it's also bitten the dust. So all these device manufacturers, they're stuck to the pipeline model. They refuse to see the important significance of the pipeline model. Apple also started as a device manufacturer. Then he said, I will open up. Let me have a number of developers on one side, number of users on the other side. Let me be a platform. Selling devices is only an incidental to the whole process. For instance, you say it has got an app store, right? How many million apps are there on App Store? How many million? There are a few millions. I think last time I've said it's about maybe 50, 20 million kind of apps. So they've got developers on one side, they've got App Store on one side. So, and they developed an ecosystem where a lot of people can develop applications on Apple, right?
Yeah.
This was not the case with these people. So they were only product strategy they're focusing on, whereas Apple was focusing on platform strategy. Because he was interacting with the likes of Facebook, Google, and all that, right? He wanted to have, I think, several partnerships were attempted. I think some worked, some did not work. They got into disputes and all that. So while his device manufacturing has not left, but he has developed a very powerful platform ecosystem around Apple. Am I right?
Yeah.
So, and he gets substantial revenue from the app stores, right? And of course, there is a dispute and a quarrel that 30% he charges for use of in-apps and all that, of course. So I think today, device manufacturing, the value addition is not much today. It's a commodity. It's highly commoditized and all that. So that is why. Number two, it is not necessary we have to reinvent the models. Supposing I understand you are Mercedes and even BMW, while they manufacture cars and all that, they also want to develop an ecosystem, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I understand that there is one company in Bangalore, I forget the name, Bounce or somebody, that scooter hire, right? For the last mile scooter hire, they have a few million and all. Supposing if they want to do the, buy all these scooters and do that, it becomes capital heavy, right? So what they have done, they developed an app, they brought in the scooter manufacturers online, consumers on the other line. So they are charged by the each mile, right? Directly to the manufacturer, producer. So producer is happy, but ultimately wants revenue either by selling or hiring. So this guy, the platform guy, he is happy. He doesn't have to probably invest any capital. Okay, if he wants 1 million scooters across India, he needs $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of platforms are tried, not that. And for instance, agriculture, I'll tell you, a huge potential. Now that you know this is a hot topic and all that. Today, the other day, I just went to my village, nearby village and all that. So I was meeting some small farmers. Most of them own 4 acres, 5 acres, some of them even 2, 3 acres. They don't want to give up. Of course, next generation is going to the cities and all that. I asked them, why don't you have a tractor? Why don't you use these implements and all? Guys, they has been complaining of labor shortage, not getting it, and also not getting productivity, not doing. Then I asked him, why don't you have a tractor? Sir, I don't need a tractor. I use it only for a few days. Why should I invest so much of money? Bank may give a loan, but I can't service it. Number one. Number two, these are all subject to breakdowns. That who will repair these things and all that. So these are more a pain for me rather than use for me. Supposing it's a platform model, you line up a platform should be created. Let all the tractor manufacturers on one side, let all the small marginal farmers on the other side. Let them be and hire for 1 hour if they want, right?
Yeah.
So if he gives for only 1 hour in one small village, it doesn't work out. But supposing you create an ecosystem, because we have got 140 million the agricultural families, right? 600 million people live in these villages. So when you do it on scale, this is a practical case, right? So I was saying, even dealer he says, sir, if I hire it and all that, how many can hire in my town and my village? I can hardly hire 10. It doesn't work out for me. But it has to come at the producer level, right? I understand, I think Mahindra, somebody people are trying it and all that, but we need to do that. Agriculture is a classic case. Education is a classic case. Like even healthcare, doctors, we have shortage of quality doctors and all that. Why should we go to all hotels and all that? Let there be a platform. There are of course 3-4 platforms are there. So these are all the fields that we can do that. As I said, we don't have to reinvent the model. I've shown you. You build audience on one side, right? That the producers on one side, consumers on the other side. Do a matchmaking, do big data analytics, artificial intelligence and all. Do fine matching and all that. And then formulate rules, provide tools, all that. So you don't have to reinvent the model. You can always improve. And then some of the manufacturers themselves, existing fellows, it's not that only greenfield kind of a thing. They can probably have both best of both the worlds. Let him be manufacturer of cars, let him be manufacturer of tractors, let him be manufacturer of cycles. Either he can himself create a platform, but normally a manufacturer himself creating platform, other people, competitors may not join, right? And there are issues.
Right. That's true.
So this is a very fertile field for entrepreneurs. They're all classic cases. I don't know whether you see an argument, see a case for it. I am big advocate of these platform companies. That's why I'm trying to simplify.
Yeah, it's a great discussion, sir. I think it's perhaps relatively new, but I think it's a great discussion we're having. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoying this discussion. It is relatively new, but he's making it as simple as possible and giving examples which we use on a day-to-day basis, right? And to say that that's the kind of scalability that can be built with this kind of model. I got engrossed and I couldn't come back to you to ask some questions. So please, we have still another 8 minutes to go. So maybe you should ask the question. Please ask questions, and we will try to get Mr. Murthy's views on that. You can ask either on the chat box or you can ask directly, as you know. And so I look forward to a couple of questions at least we'll take. Looks like we want to make this a version 2. I will talk to Mr. Murthy about it so that we can continue because we don't have too much of time. So a question that is we are looking at. So is a question that has come up is Amazon and other e-commerce sites which were built small and which have become large are platform business?
Yes, they are platform businesses. Initially, you would not have thought of it. They all evolved.
Yes.
He said, Jeff Bezos himself said, when he found that he is not about selling books. When he found this is a model, anything can be sold. So he created a platform. And he doesn't want to hold inventory because that requires a lot of capital, right?
Yes, that's true. Another question that has come up is, go ahead, sir.
No, like Flipkart is an Indian example, right? Flipkart, yes. We forget because it's sold to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Oyo, he doesn't own any hotel rooms, right? But today you got a good choice. Oyo, he doesn't own. So as I said, today Uber is giving employment to so many people. Of course, the terms are now disputed and all that. These people want a better terms and all that. But today, if I have a car, another beauty of platform for an economy point of view. Supposing earlier only hotel rooms are available for us to go and occupy, right? Supposing if I have got one floor which is vacant, I can list on the Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
I'm adding to the capacity without any investment. This is how economy grows, right?
Yeah.
If I know some of the people who have got cars and all that, sometimes they say that, okay, 2 cars, 1 car, let it be Uber. Find out that some driver comes and all that, okay, you take my car and all that, they give you some money, you run Uber, right? So
yes,
it will shift a lot of industries.
that is true. Basically, all the platform business you are talking is of a matchmaking between a demand and a supply, correct? Okay. What about, so does platform business is all about connecting networks, different networks?
Yes.
Yeah. So like
that's one of the key elements. So there are 2-3 key elements. Good that you have asked. One is network building, as we have seen that picture and all. More people in the network, more value to created, right? Number 2, then what happens is that value is created outside, right? Not inside the organization. Today, if I have I make vehicles, right? Whole value is created inside. But supposing it's a platform like Uber, it's all value is created outside. So here there is an inversion. Unlike industrial age where value is created within, in an internet economy, value is created outside. So when you have inversion of value creation, there is an inversion of management functions. Be it HR, be it finance, be it operations management. You and I can't do it. We are only used to the skill sets of a pipeline model or a linear model. So you need a new skill sets as well to orchestrate the whole thing, orchestrate the entire platform.
Sure. So you did talk about Mahindra initiative, and that is the mobility as a service, and that's perhaps going to herald a shared economy. That's what VS observes, and he just given a clarification. Mr. P.V. Rao says, and rather ask a question, all these problems, be it Uber or Ola, are capital intensive. How do we get funding, especially for DC companies or Indian companies?
Right. So as I said, Ola doesn't own any cars. You don't need any cars for Ola. Whereas you have Meru taxi fellow, which runs it, he owns the cars, right? Here in Ola, he doesn't own a car. So today what he does is, being a platform, he may facilitate, he may talk to a lender saying that, okay, I'm onboarding him as a driver. Would you like to give him? And the lender also will be happy because there is a KYC process and there is a guaranteed income for these guys. So again, a platform is built, right? You have a producer on one side, you have a user on one side, you have a lender on one side. Sometimes it will become multi-sided, about 5 sides, 6 sides.
Yes.
So he doesn't need capital. That is the beauty of platform.
Yeah. Basically, he is an aggregator. So they are basically aggregators, and like what Mr. Murthy said, they are basically doing a matchmaking. They are seeing a business opportunity in supply and demand, and they are trying to matchmake them. And that's the kind of model that they built, which is now pretty large.
So, for instance, let me explain, Mr. KK. Let me explain as you asked. See, supposing there are a lot of taxi operators, big taxi operators in Mumbai, right? Private taxi operators. Each fellow owns some 50, 100, some people even 200, right? It's very capital heavy for him, right? He has to invest. He has to borrow in his own name. So, it's very capital intensive. Supposing if it is Ola and all that, he will say, okay, you bring your own vehicle, either you borrow, if you have your own money, bring it, and then you are there tomorrow, you are on the platform. And you start earning from tomorrow.
That's true. That's true. So, even our companies like Shadi.com, and they're also on similar kinds, I guess, because they have a whole lot of, demand and a supply they're trying to match make. Another question that has come from Mr. Balachandran Muthuswamy is, what clouds offered by Amazon, Google, Microsoft we call platform services?
So it depends on what they are doing. It's only supposing hiring server space or whatever in the cloud and all that, you can't strictly call it as this thing. But supposing they are providing tools, there are developers to also help you to develop some applications and all that. So if you have a matchmaking, it is there. In a strict sense, just cloud by itself cannot be called a platform. It's only hiring your servers, right?
Okay. So the criteria
is
is
capital intensive.
Yeah. The criteria is a matchmaking. You must bring in the two big areas of demand and supply together. That's what you mean, right, sir?
And you don't invest in capital. It's not capital heavy, but he is doing capital heavy, right?
Yeah. Sir, Krishnamurthy G asked a question. The platform model can be possible solution for the present farmers' protest to the new farm laws. An independent, credible institution can play the role of platform.
Yes,
you want to take
some entrepreneurs. Without creating political controversy, I can get into it. It can, as I said, today there is a production, there is a marketing, right?
Yes.
And in the production side, you can create a platform. As I told you, he needs tractors, he needs harvesters, he needs some cutters. You have so many kind of implements which small farmer cannot afford, right? He cannot do it. And today you can't get a small fellow who can give it on hire, who will repair it. All these issues are there. On the production side, I see a very easy case for platform. But today the farm laws deal with marketing. So after having produced, should he sell in the mandi or should he sell in the open market? That is the issue, right?
Yeah.
Then should he get into a contract farming to go there is another issue. So even in marketing, there can be a platform. There can be 3-4 platforms people can create.
Absolutely, yeah.
So then there'll be a competition, right? If you have 3-4 platforms, you can have a competition for this.
Absolutely. Maybe Mr. Krishnamurthy.
Like ITC, it has been in that business for a long time, right?
Yeah, that's so. ITC is that business, correct? Actually, maybe the APMCs were of similar nature, but it didn't work out. Next question, Mr. T. Balchandran asks, if so, how come some of our big IT giants like TCS, Infosys, and LIS could not think of such a model?
Because they're all biggies. Let me not undermine the contribution they've made to India. I think let us admit that they've made a significant contribution to India. They projected India as an IT superpower, but without them, I don't think we would have at least been recognized as an IT superpower. Made a significant contribution. As I said, it is a comparison of apple and oranges, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So, all these platforms, they did not start as IT companies. Did Amazon start as an IT company? He wanted to sell books. He wanted to sell books, right? Uber, did he want to manufacture software? Develop software and sell? No. So that is their line of business. So we need a new breed of Nandan Nilekanis and Narayanamurthys to probably, as they have driven 90s, these kind of IT industry. I think you need a new breed of, I think I would like to see platform Nandan Nilekanis, platform Narayanamurthys or TCS and all that.
Yeah. So just a comment, sir, and to Mr. Balchandran, being an ex-TCSer, I can tell you that there are business models within TCS, which is like platform. Maybe they have not become that giant like some of the like the Amazons and the Googles of the world. So yeah, so every attempts have been made and are continuing to be investments are going into such platform businesses. Gautam Bhattacharya asked you a question. He's from Bombay. He says, platform companies lucidly explained. Thank you very much, sir. I think we have huge potential in the education, healthcare, and agriculture sector. Even on a small scale basis, during lockdown, I have seen a company called Super Daily arranging groceries on a daily basis at your doorstep. There are plenty of models to think about. Your thoughts, sir, if there's anything.
Yes, I fully agree. As I said, these are all platforms, huge potential in healthcare, in education, in agriculture. I've given you agricultural example also. Education, I've told you this. At a societal scale, Nandan Nilekani and his family, X-Tap kind of foundation is doing it. And I'm sure, I think there is huge scope. I think we need to be a little more aggressive. So I think let us not be over-celebrate this unicorn business. Okay, that's all fine. But unicorn means that people should not think they've arrived. We have arrived insofar as platform business is concerned. Potentially is much more than what we have achieved.
Yes, absolutely. Rajendra Saraf asked the questions. Do you foresee a platform model for the entire range of banking products and services? Like some new bank.
Already P2P lending is there, right? In lending side, P2P lending is there, right? Where you have lenders on one side, borrowers on side. What you do, you create a platform, right? And not merely, there also you match, right? The lender would say, I would only want somebody who has got this score, CIBIL score, right? I want somebody who will pay me this much of interest. So
maybe
the people are talking of banking as a service.
Neobanks, the neobanks could be looked at as a platform model, but they have to really become really big, to take on the big demand that is out there. They connect the banks as well as they connect the consumers, and that could be perhaps a very good idea, Mr. Saraf. I think that's a great idea. Mr.
But that can happen only for lending side. That can happen only for lending side. People will not use it for making deposit. Trust factor is there, right?
Well, if you look at mutual funds, it's nothing but a deposit, and there are companies who are taking it. So it's possible. I think what Mr. Saraf is saying, it's entirely possible, but I think a lot more thought process has to go into it to take on that kind of it's a massive opportunity. There's no doubt about it.
I agree. Easiest thing is to start with lending. I mean, people that easily it can.
Yes.
Easily.
So we have already crossed the 1 hour mark.
Yes.
And we have a lot to discuss. I think if we continue, we'll talk another 1 hour easily. And I think the participants have really enjoyed, because I see the number of questions that have come. Many more are coming in. I would request you, sir, you should have version 2, because there are still a lot of questions I have to ask in terms of regulatory design and operations and cyber security, privacy of data. So many things are still left out. I need to ask you those kind of questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, so we have to end the session, because this session can go on. And when Mr. Murthy is there, discussions are always so interesting. And you can interactively do so many things, right? And so much of thought-provoking discussion take place. I'm going to request Mr. Murthy to come again on version 2. We will schedule it, and we will inform all of you that when the version 2 of business platform is going to happen. So please join us at that time, because of limitation of time and keeping the time of our guest. I would like to wind up today's discussion. So Mr. Murthy, thank you, and look forward to meeting you again in the version 2 of business platform. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with me, and wish all of you a great weekend ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, KK.
Thank you.
I think I tried to simplify, not to oversimplify. Tried not to use any technical jargon, so that it's a new subject.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very, very informative, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. I'll leave.